Yo, how's it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Down Podcast. I am your host, Chris. Today I am joined by my co-hosts, Parth and Jaylen. Jaylen is on your screen right now. How is it going, gentlemen?
Going good. Amazing.
So, today we are going to be breaking down the Bears' 24-10 win over the Minnesota Vikings at US Bank Stadium. This video is coming out a day late. You guys will see this about Monday afternoon. That is because I was actually at the game. I got home at about 1 a.m. last night. The drive from Minneapolis back to Chicago is about 6 hours. So that was absolutely brutal, but it was worth every second of that terrible drive up there and back. So let's break it down for you guys. Let's give a little overview of the offense and the defense. I'm going to pull up the stats, but Jaylen, I'm going to have you start talking about. Let's start with the defense. What talk about the defense yesterday?
The defense played how the defense plays all the time. Like the first, I want to say 5 drives were 4 and outs for the Minnesota Vikings, which is great because actually it had showed how Adam Thielen and Kirk Cousins were arguing, and it was making me laugh.
Yeah, that was good.
What y'all arguing about, and this is basically a playoff game for them, and they're arguing about not doing well on offense. Yeah. So the defense played great.
Yeah, I will say I was at that game, and the Vikings fans that I was talking to there, I talked to a couple Vikings fans, and overall they were just pretty frustrated in general. They actually ended up booing the offense off the field in the middle of the third quarter. They had nothing to really cheer about the entire day except for that one drive where they had the touchdown to Stephon Diggs. A
lot of questionable calls on that drive too.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely.
Leonard Floyd with the biggest day on defense, 8 tackles, 3 of them being solo tackles, and 2 tackles for a loss for him. Roquan Smith, I'm not sure if he broke it. I think he needed 8 tackles to break Brian Urlacher's record, which means he would have came 1 short of Brian Urlacher's record actually. But still an incredible rookie year for him. 6 tackles for him in this game. Adrian Amos with the big hit stick to draw the ball loose from Stephon Diggs, which was basically the drive that iced it. Akeem Hicks with a sack and a half. Eddie Goldman with a sack. Bilal Nichols with a sack, and Roy Robertson Harris with a half of sack, along with Isaiah Irving on one of the last drives there. It was a pretty good game overall. Adrian Amos with a pass defended. Prince Amakamura, not the greatest game for him. He had a couple penalties, but he also had 1 pass defended. And then Kevin Tolliver, Jalen's man, with a pass defended there when they threw in the second stringers. Parth, what did you think of the defensive performance yesterday?
Excellence. I was watching Akeem Hicks' post-game interview, and he said how they're approaching excellence. I think they're at excellence. In my opinion, they are the best defense. Stat-wise, yes, they've allowed a little bit more than other defenses in yards, but they've caused the most turnovers. Now are tied with the Vikings for the most sacks of the season. So they make that big play, which always causes the offense to kind of give up. So those 3 and outs in the beginning, playing tough coverage on Thielen and Diggs, and getting a ton of pressure into Kirk Cousins, who is basically never going to beat the Chicago Bears in his career. It's going to be that type of thing for him.
Yeah. Let's talk about the offense. I'm going to go through some stats, and I'll let you guys speak about it. Trubisky, 18 for 26, 163 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Personally, I think Jordan Howard should have had 1 less rushing touchdown, and Trubisky should have had a touchdown. He was about a half a yard short on a throw to Taylor Gabriel, but that's all right. We can talk about that another day. Let's just be happy that we scored on that drive. He had an 86 passer rating. Jordan Howard had an incredible day, 21 carries, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns, with a 42-yard rush in the first quarter on basically the first play from scrimmage for the Bears. That was great. It's been nice to see him getting going throughout the season. He's gotten a lot more rushing touchdowns, and he came 70 yards shy of a 1,000-yard season, man. I've been one to write him off the entire season. I kind of do hope that we keep him, though. I was one that was thinking, hey, maybe Tevin Coleman could be an option for the Bears. Looks like he's going to be a little bit too expensive for the Bears to sign this offseason. And then you look at some other guys that we possibly could acquire. These are long shots, but Leonard Fournette is someone who might be acquirable. I don't know if that's a word by trade, but I like Howard. I think he can work on his speed just a little bit. I think he was a little bit faster as he was younger, but he's produced really well as the season has gone on. Tariq Cohen, 5 rushes, 34 yards and a touchdown. Trubisky had a 12-yard run on a big third down on the Tariq Cohen scoring drive. That was huge in the fourth quarter. And then as far as receiving goes, Taylor Gabriel, 4 receptions, 61 yards. Obviously, that long one for 43. Trey Burton, 5 receptions, 33 yards. He knows how to perform in Minnesota. Javon Wims and Kevin White, both guys who stepped up. Anthony Miller hurt his shoulder in the first quarter on one of the first plays from scrimmage. And Kevin White and Javon Wims. Javon Wims, someone who I've wanted to perform well the entire year, and he finally got his chance to perform. 4 receptions for 32 yards. He had a big one on third down in the fourth quarter. And then Kevin White had a nice back shoulder fade catch in the first quarter for 1 reception for 22 yards. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What did you guys think about this offense?
It did its job. When Jordan Howard got going, it was nice to see that. Terry Cohen kind of struggled, which is kind of like, but that's fine because Jordan Howard did the work. And Trubisky made those big-time throws that we need him to do. Third downs, that ball to Kevin White, that ball to Javon Wims, that ball to Trey Burton, and that deep throw to Taylor Gabriel shows how he's ready for the playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I want guys like Javon Wims to get more minutes. I'm sure, hopefully, Gabriel, I think he, some with his ribs, and then also Anthony Miller had something going on with his shoulder. That looked pretty bad, actually, when it happened. Everyone thought he tore his collarbone, so no one really knows what happened there. I hope he's fine. But Nagy said he thought he was going to be fine. Robinson will be back next week. I hope Javon Wims keeps playing, man. I like this guy. He shows out every week, and I was excited to see him on the field this week. Jaylen, what did you think of this offense this week?
This offense, like Parth said, it did its job. It did what it was supposed to do, especially in this type of game. It ran the ball. It didn't it didn't turn over the ball, and it scored points. So it was a good game.
Yeah, just looking into the playoffs, as long as Trubisky, and Louis Riddick himself said it, just don't turn the ball over and let the defense do their job. We'll be perfectly fine. Man, dude, I don't know what it is about Javon Wims, man. I just like him a lot. I like his size. I feel like he might end up being good in a couple years. Unfortunately for Kevin White, it was good to see him out there, but I feel like it might be a little bit too little too late unless he accepts no money from us to re-sign. Cause,
it's actually a funny story. I betted my stepbrother that he get his first touchdown. He was this close. That was a holding call. Unlike that last drive.
Yeah.
Got held. That was definitely a hold.
Well, it didn't really matter. The game was over on that one. Yeah. But yeah, totally. Let's talk about offensive and defensive MVPs. I think we're all pretty. I see where you can make an argument for someone else for offensive MVP. But I think it's pretty much consensus Jordan Howard. He was incredible yesterday. I'm gonna talk. I know Parth. We get it. You're gonna pick Trubisky.
I'm not going with Trubisky. I was gonna go with someone else.
The offensive line.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. I'll talk about Howard for a second. As I said earlier, it's nice for him to get going. I hope we keep him. I said earlier, I hope he works on his speed maybe just a little bit. But if you need someone on third and short, man, he will be there. The whole 9 yards. He was incredible yesterday, and he was really our cash cow, and we ran it with him 19 times, and it paid off. We kept running it down the throat with guys like Danielle Hunter, with guys like Everson Griffin, and all these guys coming at you. Anthony Barr, and Howard was productive yesterday, and I was proud with how he played. So I'm going to give him my offensive MVP. 2 touchdowns on the day as well for him.
Yep. I'm going to give the offensive line a little bit of credit.
No sacks on Trubisky.
The running holes were crazy. When Kyle Long was in the game, that run game was like...
Yeah. I read a tweet.
Explosive.
I read a tweet by Aaron Lemming in the middle of the game. I think it was like, Danielle Hunter is not happy that Kyle Long is back in this game, but Jordan Howard is.
On that big 42-yard run, that was a big hole created by Kyle.
Who's your offensive MVP, Jaylen?
Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks he's been playing great, and that shows that Nagy is committed to running the ball, especially in this type of weather. Last game Trubisky only threw 1 touchdown, but Jordan had an okay game. He had a nice game running the ball last week. So that shows me that Nagy wants to run the ball, and he wants to play old Chicago Bears football, run the ball and play great defense, and that's what we're doing, and we're winning by doing it.
Totally. Defensive MVP, I'm going to go with Leonard Floyd. There's not really any standout here that you could pick possibly. You could probably just pick the whole defensive unit just because they were good. The pass rush was there all day, and Floyd was on top of it. He was chasing Kirk Cousins down. Man, dude, when you see Leonard Floyd out there, he can run really as fast as anyone on the team, dude. He is speedy. He has long strides, and he had 1.5 tackles for a loss and 8 tackles. Overall, it was a great game for him. So I'm going to give it to Leonard Floyd as my defensive MVP.
You want me to go?
Yeah, sure, because Parth's mic is on mute, I see, so.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to go with Kevin Tolliver.
Oh, man.
That PBU was amazing on last play of the game, or they give us a ball back. The PBU was so nice. But in all realisticness, that's not a word. To be realistic, I'm going to go with the D-line, or mainly Akeem Hicks. Akeem Hicks had a great game. He had, like you said, a 1.5 sack and great pressure on Kirk Cousins. So
yeah.
I'm going to go with Akeem Hicks. He definitely should be an All-Pro, but I don't know if he's going to get it.
Yeah, quick little shout out, defensive MVP to Nick Kwiatkowski because he caught a ball on offense, 2-point conversion. We haven't really seen much of him since Rokon replaced him, but Nick Kwiatkowski, he caught a 2-point conversion in that game. Parth, I saw you just.
That was a nice catch too.
Yeah, Parth, I saw you just unmuting right. Who will your defensive MVP be of this game? Oh, he just muted his mic again. Well, okay, let's move on to what was the deciding factor of this game. For me, it's pretty clear. We got pressure on Kirk Cousins, and we forced him into bath bros. He had open receivers all day. If I had to take Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs versus Kyle Fuller and Prince Amukamara, I would take those receivers all day. But, obviously Kyle Fuller's pretty good. Prince was not too great yesterday. But overall, I think the pass rush was incredible. You saw the frustration boil over on the sidelines with Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen. We spoke about that earlier. That was great. So the deciding factor I was going to say would be the pass rush. Khalil Mack wasn't even a factor yesterday. He was getting double teamed most of the day, which I guess you could say he was a factor. But guys like Leonard Floyd, guys like Akeem Hicks, guys like Eddie Goldman stepped up and made it really hard on Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the same thing. The defense with the deciding factor played great against Kirk Cousins, just like you said.
Yeah. Let's talk about who stepped up. One player on offense, one player on defense, each who stepped up big in this game. Let's start on offense. Man, dude, I keep thinking about it. And as Parth just left the call, so it's just you and I now. I feel like my love for Javon Williams is similar to your love for Kevin Tolliver. We just want to see him on the field. So I'm going to go with Javon Williams as my offensive player who stepped up. A little shout out to Kevin White as well. Those guys were forced to play after they had been healthy scratches for weeks. They came in, they did their thing, they got open for Trubisky, and they made some pretty good catches. So I'm going to go with Javon Williams as my offensive player who stepped up.
Definitely Javon Williams. He made some great catches. The catch that shows out against that like jumps out at me was the contested catch. When the dude was like basically
Trey Waynes was on him. I remember that. That was on a third down too.
Yeah, basically all his catches was on third down, and that shows me how he gets open when he needs to. Javon Williams is a big body receiver. He's not the fastest, not the greatest routes, but he can go up and get the ball. And that I can't wait till he develops with our receivers coach in the next coming years, and he gets opportunity.
Totally. On defense, it's really hard to pick someone, but I will pick someone. I'm gonna say Deion Bush. I mean, obviously, with Eddie Jackson not being there, it's hard to step up and play well. I wouldn't say he was incredible, but he didn't allow any of those big gashing plays to guys like Thielen, to guys like Diggs, to guys like Kyle Rudolph down the field when Minnesota was trying to stretch it out vertically. So Deion Bush wasn't really a factor in this game, but just because he did a decent job at what he had to do, I'm gonna say he stepped up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Deion Bush too. Like you said, it's not the easiest to replace an All-Pro safety, but he has done a great job. He's just like Sherrick McManus with Bryce Callahan. Bryce Callahan was having a Pro Bowl season until he got hurt, and Sherrick McManus has stepped up. And you can't even notice that Sherrick McManus is on the field because he doesn't get targeted. When he does, he makes plays. So Deion Bush, I'm gonna do a duel with Deion Bush and Sherrick McManus.
Yeah, McManus has been good since he came in, since Bryce Callahan's injured, man. He's been good. Yeah.
Those are my players that stepped up.
Yeah. And then things to improve on, I got one thing. Just get ready to draft or sign a kicker because Cody Parkey better be gone this offseason. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Like his bio says, just kicking it. You're not kicking it in. You're kicking it to the goalpost.
Yeah, totally. I don't think he should return. I mean, we did guarantee him all this money, and we're going to lose $9 million. But hey, I think we need to change a kicker. That was poor performance yesterday.
We've been cursed ever since.
And I'm worried it's going to bite us in the playoffs against like the Rams or the Saints or something. if we get there.
If it does, bro, if we win this game, which we should, this is a team that we're clearly better than, and we're at home, which we're dang near undefeated at home. If we go into the dome and he misses a kick, cut him the next day.
Well, my dad said to me yesterday. He said these are perfect conditions at U.S. Bank Stadium. He said if you're missing one here, there's a problem, and he missed one. Yeah. Well,
he almost missed the first one. That first one was like this close from it.
Yep. Well, that'll pretty much do it for this episode, guys. This is every video out for the rest of the season until the off season. You'll see us in button-down shirts. Yeah. So we promised that in the beginning of the season. I gotta find the actual clip where we promised that. That was early on that we said if the Bears make the playoffs, we'll do that. But we'll have the Philadelphia Eagles, the full slate, coming to you guys next week. Big week, man. A lot of anticipation for this. First time in 8 years that we're able to do this, and it's our first year on the podcast, and we're able to talk about the Bears in the playoffs. So that pretty much do it. You can find all of our social medias down there in the description. You can follow the podcast on social media as well at Bear Down, and you can follow our fan pages. I already said those are in the description. That'll pretty much do it for this one. We'll see you guys in the Philadelphia Eagles meet the opponents, and we'll pretty much do it. We're looking for, hey man, we are looking forward to some club dub in the playoffs. That'll pretty much do it for this one, guys. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bear down. Peace.